Welcome to another video with Joseph Manifesting. Today's video is going to be on my favorite affirmations and favorite sayings that have helped me drastically when manifesting my wife, when manifesting money, when manifesting jobs, etc. Or if, like, my 3D is on ideal currently, or I'm caught up in a lot of thought, these affirmations and sayings have been very helpful for me. Before I go into today's video, please like and subscribe. The more likes and subscribes I get, the more that this information can help other people. And if you're interested in coaching, please look at my detail on my page and send me an email. I'll be happy to work with you on whatever challenge you may have. The first topic I want to talk about is askfirmations. Now, I'll give an example of this. When I was manifesting my wife the first time, it was hard for me to accept an affirmation that I am loved or whatever it was, when I was so caught up in what the 3D looked like that it didn't feel like it was true. And we know that the brain, or the logical mind, wants to look for reasons to the contrary. It wants to look for reasons. It's what it's made to do. It's really an attack and defense mechanism. With us knowing that, well, we want to use that to our advantage. So what is the best way to do this? The mind is going to think. It's going to think thoughts. It's going to be rational. It's going to do what it does. So how do I use it for my advantage? And the best way I have found is by doing askfirmations. Why am I so loved? Now, you notice a beautiful thing this does. One, it already implies that I am loved. The second thing, my brain is now looking for reasons why it is so. So it puts me in the wish fulfilled. My thinking is in the wish fulfilled instead of thinking of the state, as Neville puts it. And it makes me feel better because I already feel like I have it. And I may ask, why am I so wealthy? Why does money flow to me in abundance? Well, because I affirm all day long, or because I feel as though I'm wealthy, because great ideas come to me because I'm valuable, etc. And the beautiful thing with this is I can do it with whatever. And I've also found that it helps me to move out of an unideal state. If I'm caught up in the 3D and this isn't going the way I want it to, and this person just said this to me, or I just saw the opposite, or I'm really struggling to accept my affirmation, this is a great way to get around it, because again, you're already implying that it is so. You're not asking if it's so, you're asking why it is so. So it's easier to be in the wish fulfilled. And then as a result, since you're thinking better thoughts, you feel more ideal. I would write a list in my journal of about 5 affirmations. Why am I the best salesman at the company I work for? Why does everything always work out for me so well? Why do I feel so healthy? Why is it so easy for me to eat ideal and to work out? Etc. And you can fill in the blank with whatever it is that you want. And like in all my videos, it's super important that you're aware of what you actually want, not what you're settling for or what you think is possible. What does your heart actually desire? So make this list, and then from there, you can arrange your why questions around those goals, those heart desires. A second one that I really like, I remember when, is one of Neville's favorite quotes that he says. I use it in my little Neville toolbox. And if a situation is currently tough, I'm seeing information to the contrary, I'm feeling frustrated, I'm feeling upset, because let's be honest, like, that's the reality of manifesting. I'm going to keep being a human being. I'm going to have hard times. I'm going to be sad sometimes. I'm going to be frustrated sometimes. And to me, I don't think this is talked about enough in Law of Assumption. You just hear, just go to sleep and it's like easy. And then here I am, or here's really everybody I've ever worked with that doesn't have that experience. It's usually tough. It usually requires perseverance. It usually requires crying sometimes. It usually requires, man, I've been frustrated and given up for like a day or two, where I just needed a mental reset. And I think it's so important to realize that this is normal and natural. You're not weird. You're not different. You're not messing up. This is part of the process. I mean, think of anything like that you do. It's never like, oh, the first time I do this, I'm amazing at it. First time I played baseball, I got hit in the head by a baseball. I got hit by a baseball bat. I got hit by a pitch. I struck out a bunch. And now I'm a good baseball player. But it took baby steps and it took challenges that made me better. And manifesting is the same way. I've been manifesting for almost 6 years using law of assumption. I did law of attraction before that. And I still have days where I'm frustrated. I still have days where I want to give up. I still have days where I'm crying. I still have days where my inner conversations aren't ideal. The only difference is I shift out of it very quickly. I don't dwell on the fact that happened. I let it go and I move on. Back to the, isn't it wonderful? Or I'm sorry, I remember when. Think of any time that you succeeded at something, or like you were fighting with your SP years ago, or you guys were like just kind of talking and now you're happily married. You're going to say, I remember when it was like this. It's very natural. And it also implies that you move states. And as Neville says, if outside circumstances can cause inner conversations, then inner conversations can create outer circumstances, because everything is just consciousness. So I remember when, fill in the blank with whatever it is. And the beautiful thing about this, again, is you're changing your perspective. And that's the whole point of this, is to change your viewpoint. Your SP does love you. You are wealthy. You are abundant. It's just up until this point, you haven't been aware of it. You haven't been conscious of being that way. So all you're doing is aligning your consciousness, that state of consciousness, with what you are outwardly going to experience. The last one that I really like, I wrote down an ideal list of how I wanted to behave, how I wanted to act, how I wanted to see life. So when my natural, every day, I had this thing, around 5 o'clock, I'd start feeling sad. Around 8 o'clock, I was worrying about something. First thing I did when I woke up in the morning, I checked my phone and create anxiety. Right? It was just automatic. It's the old man, as Neville calls it. And so what I would do in that moment is ask myself, what would ideal Joseph do here? Or I would sometimes do, what would Neville Goddard do? And it does this beautiful thing, because instead of feeding that habitual automatic responses to life and that automatic responses that happen all day long, you're starting to have a new perspective. You're rearranging the mind by seeing things from a different perspective. So again, either ask yourself, what would ideal Joseph do here? Think here, behave here, feel here. Or what would Neville Goddard feel here? And what you'll notice is you'll change states of consciousness. Albert Einstein said this: you will never figure out a solution on the same level of consciousness that created the problem. You will never think your way out of the problem, because the thinking, in fact, is the problem. So the only solution is rise in consciousness. And we rise in consciousness by seeing things a different way. As we get on this journey more and more, we realize that we have these set thought patterns every day. One may be accustomed to thinking thoughts of fear or worry or sadness or depression or whatever it is, and you'll notice as you become more and more conscious, it's an automatic programming that you don't even choose. You wake up in the morning, it's the first thing that starts happening is unconsciously that little voice in your head starts trying to find things to worry about. Even though consciously you're like, I don't want this, it still happens. And so all we're doing is we're becoming more and more conscious every single day. And then as we become more conscious, we get to choose. Do I want to be the old man, or do I want to be the new man? These three techniques have helped me drastically. Again, they're going to be askfirmations. Why is it that everything works out for me? Why is it so easy for me to be in my ideal state? Why do I change so ideally? Whatever it is. Another one, I remember when. This is a beautiful thing. Whenever your 3D is unideal, or you're having internal conversations that aren't in alignment with who you're desiring to be, think of the fact that you already have your desire and remember a time when you didn't. And lastly, if you're in a situation where your mind is racing, or fear-based thoughts or sad-based thoughts, and you know that you've been here many times before, ask yourself, what would ideal me think? Or what would Neville Goddard think and feel in this situation? And as you keep changing, you keep rewiring your brain, the old man will die and the new man will surface, and then your external will, as it always has, change and verify what you did in secret. I hope today's video was helpful. If you liked it, please like and subscribe. My next video is going to be on manifesting my wife, how I manifested marriage, and how I got her back twice. Take care, guys.